Hello YouTube, Voices here, and today I will be doing a super detailed guide on the most consistent TFT comp for patch 10.17 and probably 10.18 as well if it's not too much nerf. I will go through every single stage of the game, early, mid, and late, and atomization, position, and some variations that you can go for depending on the lobby. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I will be uploading new guides like this every week about all the best comps. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. But for now, here comes the guide. So, the most consistent comp for this patch is Astro Sniper. So, for top 1 specifically. So, there's so many ways and so many things to know about this comp, because this can go bad really quickly if you do not eat your units or don't know when to roll or level. So first, the thing to know in this comp is Teemo is your primary carry. So you're always going to focus on his items first, and then Jhin, and then the tanks. Usually you want your Teemo to be 3 items full before you can get to the Jhin or the Nautilus or any of your carry. This is an example of a potential end game comp, a lot of small synergies. The 2 snipers are 2 carries, the Astro, so your Teemo can cast a lot, and some solid frontline that can protect from any GP ults or anything like that. This is just an example. You can try this version. There's many other versions and we'll go through it together. But first, let's talk about the early game. So in the early game, the first carousel you should always aim for tier. The priority item for Teemo is blue buff. It is the most important item for Teemo. So you're always gonna go for the tier in the first carousel. If you can't, then I suggest you try to go for the rod if it's still available. Then there is so many different variations on how you can transition and have a great early game with this comp. Basically what you need is a really solid front line. So you can go 4 brawlers, 4 protectors, or 4 vanguards. The best, if you can, is 4 vanguards. Why? Because you will have the Nautilus that you keep until the late game. You can have the Bard and Cassiopeia for the Mystic. So let's say you get the Vanguard early game, which is usually Leona and Poppy. You want another unit that can be your carry, the one that's going to do damage while your Vanguards are going to tank. Those are the best carries available in the early game: Kate, Graves, Ziggs, and TF. Since you're starting with a tier, I really recommend Ziggs or TF. Those will be your best options. After that, you can either add a Caitlyn or add an additional Vanguard. The goal here is, once you hit level 4 or 5, is to try to have 4 Vanguards online. Okay, once you have the 4 Vanguards online, you should be strong enough for the early and mid game. You will have enough damage with the Ziggs or the TF to get you through it. Let's talk about stage 3. So stage 3, you're going to find the 3 costs appearing pretty frequently. If you had your Zig as a carry, a great 3 cost is Rumble to give you Demolitionist, and that is really strong in the early mid game. If you find a Cassiopeia, even Cassiopeia 1 is better than Ziggs 2, you should go for it. You should always level at 3-2 to level 6, and you roll down until you find Bard. If you didn't find Bard until you have 10 gold, you stop there. So an ideal comp for level 6 can look something like this corner right here. You can have it will be 4 Vanguards and 2 Mystics, okay? And you can position it like so. At this point, you might have maybe another, I don't know, Morello, or if you don't have Morello, maybe you have Zizirot, which, by the way, according to the rank 1 ANA, is one of the best tank items for this composition. So this can be a great mid-game to have. The rank 1 actually, who actually mains Astro Sniper, says that Nautilus is the only alone unit in the front. And this is actually a great tip, because everybody is gonna come and focus this Nautilus. So once you find your Teemo here with the blue buff and the Morello, everybody will be in the same corner trying to kill this Nautilus and the Zizirot after it. Everybody will be regrouped, with meaning more shroom damage. So I think that's a really good tip if you find a Teemo early. You can have 3 Astro, 4 Vanguards. You will be win streaking with this if you find a Teemo early. Then after that, it's just a game of upgrading your units and finding the better ones. For example, for Vanguards, instead of having Leona and Poppy, you will eventually find Jace and Wukong. This will be probably later at level 7. Once you're at level 7, you can add the second sniper as being Jhin. Okay, something like this. Positioning is basically having a whole team all around your snipers. You're protected against infiltrators, against basically anything, but mainly infiltrators. Once you have something like this, you can add Mystic with either Karma or Soraka. Soraka is always better. Something to know is that if you find a Teemo early, you just fast level 8. You don't do anything else. You can put all the Vanguards or just 1-star in it. You just need Teemo 1 to work. Once you have Teemo 1, you go fast 8. Now you're level 8. Let's see how many units I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Now that you're level 8, you have different options. You can either go 9 if you're really healthy, something around at stage 4, 3 or around 60 HP, 70 HP, you should go for level 9. Or you can roll to try to find your units, mainly if you can find Teemo 2. Okay. So this is your goal, finding Teemo 2, upgrading the Jhin, etc. Now that you have your itemization on the Teemo, you need to itemize the Jhin, and I only recommend actually one item on the Jhin, is Giant Slayer. Why? Just because of all the mechs and all the protectors bars going around. If you have play against rebels, against mech, against protectors, Giant Slayer is always going to be better than Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, any other item, right? So Giant Slayer is almost a must in this comp. So for the itemization in the order, you need to have 3 full items for Teemo, then you go for Giant Slayer, then you go for the Zizirot for the Nautilus. Okay, whatever else you have can be on the tanks or maybe some mana items for the Bard, for the Soraka. And that would be it. So this is one variation of it that is really, really strong and really consistent, but it's not the only one. So let's look. there is also the 4 sniper variation. So I only recommend this variation when you have playing against Star Guardians or any enemy team that has a full backline only. Why? Because that's when the 4 sniper will benefit the most of the damage. If you're using his front line, you don't need more damage. Their front line is gonna go through yours, and your Timo or Jin are gonna die too fast. So you would need a better front line. If they have a weak front line, basically like this, and you can go through the backline with your snipers, then you should go for it. The perfect example for that is the Star Guardian Sorcerer. So if you know that you have 2, maybe 3 Star Guardian players in your lobby, you should definitely go for the 4 snipers. Here is an example if you are in the Force of Nature galaxy. 4 vanguards, 4 snipers, right? That's the best that you can have. Of course, again, you prioritize the items on Timo, Morello, Rabadon, whatever you can get. A Giant Slayer here, the Z0 here, and you can add maybe, I don't know, a Zephyr here, Trapclaw, Guardian Angel, or whatever you can get else on the Jin, on your tank, or the mana items on Soraka. This is a really, really strong endgame. Now, I would like to talk about the fact that the rank 1 player is always keeping a Bard for the third Astro instead of Gnar. And there is a reason for that. So let me find Gnar real quick. Where is he? Where is Gnar? I don't see it. Here it is. So the reason of the no Gnar is because basically it doesn't had any other synergy to it. It doesn't have Brawler, so it will die pretty quickly. So the only thing that it can just provide is just another unit to block for your snipers. Plus, for this specific composition, you want your snipers to be all cornered and have some tanks in the front line, maybe Soraka and the Bard here to have your snipers well protected. However, if you have a Gnar here and the enemy team comes here towards you, you don't want the Gnar to bring closer to your snipers, the enemy team, right? You want them safe. And that's the same if you put a Gnar here. If the Gnar is here, what is he going to do? He's going to bring everyone closer to your snipers, which means less damage for you. So I do not recommend having a Gnar here. This is more than good enough. Something like this is really, really strong. You have all the enemy team focused here. The shrooms are going to be a ton of damage and you should be good to go. Now some additional tips and tricks here and there. So depending on the lobby you face, right? If you have, let's say, if you're on Dwarf Planet, you should see that almost everybody wants to go for mech. If you see that there is a lot of mech players, you need the Bard and another Mystic as soon as possible because most of their damage is magic with the Victor and the mech. You need Mystic as soon as possible. If you play against Cybernetics, you need to go for 4 Vanguards. They will have trouble to go through all of that, and your Timo engine will have enough time to finish the entire team before they can get to your snipers. If you play against Star Guardians or any enemy team that has a full backline, you should go for 4 snipers because that's when you get the most out of your damage, and they have a weak front line anyway. But that is it for this guide. I hope I included a lot of details about the early, mid game and late game. There are many versions of it. There is this one that has a lot of more synergies that can be great. There is the 4 snipers. I only recommend it if you play on full backline, like the full 4 sorcerers, Star Guardians. There is this version right here that you can go for at level 9 with the font that is the perfect frontline, perfect damage if you can get there. And then there is the usual one that you should go for, that is the most consistent, which is 4 Vanguards, 2 snipers with Teemo carry. Something to be added is usually, because this comp is uncontested, you should go for Teemo 3. And you should be able to actually find it more times than you think. And Teemo's 3 damage is actually insane. It's almost an auto win. Every Shum is gonna destroy all the Vanguards, any other team that will regroup for the Nautilus. So you should win top 1 really easily. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below or on my Discord. I will be happy to answer you. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.